Hi guys, this is Bill from Spencer1984.com with another update to the Twister trucks. And I'm going to be trying something a little different in this video, so don't let the runtime concern you. I'm going to stick some timestamps down below so that you can jump ahead if you want to. But we're going to be starting off with the Ram chassis. So first thing on that is I've got the engine installed, and it fit really nicely. I'm genuinely surprised at how well the Tamiya and AMT and Revell kits all fit together. But you got the engine in. I've got the wheels on. I've got some disc brakes up front here and some drum brakes in the rear. And I also went through and did a little bit of weathering to the chassis. I think I'm pretty close to done at this point. Like I said, it is supposed to be a new truck, but it's a new truck that's already seen a bit of wear and tear. So I think this is appropriate. I do still need to add a few details like the gas tank straps, the shocks, and the drive shafts, which brings us to the current task. So you may remember from an earlier video, I have the custom drive shaft builder set from Fireball Modelworks, and taking a look at it, he's got some really nice instructions, including a breakdown of a typical and a more complicated drive shaft. And from what I've been able to find, the rear drive shaft on the Ram should be a simple one, so that's what I'm going to be starting with. For that, I'm going to need one transmission yoke, one U-joint, two weld yokes, and one slip end yoke. And then also mentioned, but not provided in the kit, is aluminum tubing. So I'm going to be using some K&S 1/8 inch or 3.18 millimeter aluminum tubing. So now before I start cutting anything, I'll need to know how long a drive shaft I need. So I'm going to go from the back of the transfer case to the front of the rear differential. And that looks like 91 millimeter. Alright, let's start in. Now, these are very small parts, so I'm going to need a little mechanical help here. The tweezers in, and so there is the transmission yoke. Now for the U-joints, these are a little unique in the kit in that these are still attached to their backing plates. Everything else is separate and basically ready to go. These are also stuck to each other. Come on. All right, we got 2 blocks of 4 and a block of 2. Let me just get that. And there's the block of 2. So you can see what those look like right out of the package. And what we got to do here is very carefully right up tight to the joint and snip it off. And next up, we need the 2 weld yokes. So get 1 and there's number 2. And nice work on these. At least they look good so far. And then the last piece is the end yoke. And that's very similar to the transmission yoke, but it's already got the joint as part of it. So now that we've got our pieces, let's see about putting them together. Now they're supposed to just snap together, but they are very small. I'm not sure my fingers are going to be able to do it. I might need something a little more delicate. Is that it? No. I'm going to need some help here. There we go. Okay. So yeah, they do in fact just snap together. And once it's together, it actually has some wiggly waggly to it. Nice. Okay, that was the easy one though. This is the one that's got the fully separate U-joint in it. So let's see what we can do with this. All right. So that's part one. Now we get part two in here. Yeah, that U-joint is flexing in the middle. I mean, that's exactly what it's supposed to do, but I'm going to have to wedge the end of the tweezers in here. All right, there we go. Second U-joint. And this one flexes in both directions. Very nice. All right, so we need to bridge a 91 millimeter gap, and it looks like the first one of these is about 4 and 4. So need 83 millimeters on the aluminum tube. That might be a hair long because they look like they might be closer to 4.5 millimeter, but better to cut long and then I can trim a little bit off if I need to. So we're going to aim for 83 on this. And for that, I've got my slightly duller X-Acto blade here. Line this up with the end of the ruler. Go to 83. And I just roll it back and forth. Now, I'm not putting a whole lot of pressure on it here. I'm more trying to make sure that it stays straight and square as I'm rolling it, because eventually it'll go all the way through. All right, let's do a quick test fit here. Make sure everything fits together the way it's supposed to. And yeah, that looks pretty good. It's not a tight fit, but it's a good fit. And all right, so the end where I cut, it does roll over the metal a little bit, so all I need to do here is just roll the blade right inside the tube a couple of times. And we'll give it another test fit. Not quite. So shave a little bit more off. And again, I'm not using a whole lot of pressure as I do this. I'm just holding it at an angle and letting the blade do the work. All right, that looks good. And that's good as well. So there is the mock-up for the drive shaft. Now let's get it together. So for that, I'm going to be using some super glue. And I'm just going to put a light dot right here at the first end. Don't want to get a whole lot in there, but I do need to make sure I've got enough to hold it. And slot in that first universal. Looks good. Still got my wiggly waggly on it. So this is the front one. And let's see if that fits in the transfer case. And it does. Yeah. That looks good. And looks like I got pretty good gap between the drive shaft and the differential. So we'll get the second U-joint in. See how that looks. Again, put my little dab of super glue here. Put in the universal. And I want to make sure that I line this up with the first one. So I don't want them at weird angles to each other. That looks about right. Doesn't feel like I've got enough glue in here, though. No, I sure don't, but let's see. Really just need to tack over right now. I don't need it to be a really heavy permanent bond. So I'm going to hold on to it for a few seconds and see if that holds it in place. All right, let's try that. That's not too bad. All right, so to get it to fit, though, I'm going to need to trim off. Phooey. All right. To get it to fit, and you need to trim off this stub, just like that. And now that should hopefully fit right between my transfer case and my rear differential. So get it into the transfer case. And not quite. It's just a little bit long. Looks like maybe 1 or 2 millimeters too long. But that's okay. That's a real easy fix. I'm just going to pop off that rear universal joint. And I'm going to bring my knife back in. And I'm just going to do the same type of cut that I did last time, just shaving off a little bit of the end. Now, if I need to do this again, I will. I'd rather make multiple cuts to get it shaved down than cut it too short. We'll see how this looks. All right, so that's about 1 millimeter and change off of it. And get the universal stuck back in there. Get the forward end in the transfer case. And drop this into the rear differential. There we go. It could use a little alignment, but yeah, successful test run. That is a solid looking drive shaft. Now, no real surprise. Everything I've gotten from Fireball Modelworks has been awesome, but still, nice to see it in action. So, that's it for the Ram. Moving on to the Jeep. Got the interior just about done. Got some dirty floor mats in there. Got a bit of weathering to the floor, the seats, and the door panels. Got the dashboard just about done. At this point, I still need to add the CB, the cell phone, and some of the garbage, but that's in pretty good shape. And something I'm very happy to see finally coming to fruition. The body now has all of the decals and bare metal foil done. And overall, I'm very happy with how this is coming along. I painted the inside of the body black, and that serves two functions. It makes the fender liners in the headliner, plus it prevents light leaks through the body. And putting it on the chassis, I am overall pretty happy with how this looks. Not bad at all. Now, we're supposed to be getting a break from the humidity starting tomorrow, and so I'm hoping to take advantage of that and get the ram painted. I'll also go ahead and assemble the forward drive shaft for that, paint those. I'll make some shock absorbers, get those painted and installed. I still need to do the steering assembly, can't forget that. But really not a whole lot left on the ram chassis. Got to finish the engine on that. Interior's pretty much finished at this point. Like I said, if I can get the body painted, that'll be good. And then it'll be time for lights and accessories. So still got a ways to go, but it's really starting to come together at this point. Now, I will have another update on all of this next week. You can check back then, and thanks for watching.